Kryptos is a sculpture by the American artist Jim Sanborn located on the grounds of the Central Intelligence Agency (CIA) in Langley, Virginia. Since its dedication on November 3, 1990, there has been much speculation about the meaning of the four encrypted messages it bears. Of these four messages, the first three have been solved. On the morning of February 13, 2020, I began reading a news article on my Facebook. Mr. Jim Sanborn just gave a new hint on a cipher named Kryptos 4. It was 6 a.m. that morning and I began work on the Kryptos for the first time. I had seen this cipher before on YouTube videos, but my work on the Beal ciphers did not allow for time to look into Kryptos, but at this time I was taking a break from my primary project. So I began working on this secondary project. Using Notepad on my computer, I began looking into the new and old hints with the Kryptos 4 code. Looking into the Berlin clock, I found an interesting possibility and began working words into a line with the hints. Looking at the possibility of letters being one or two letters on either side of the hints, I began to see a pattern. Applying this pattern to my output decryption line in the middle you see here. Seeing a positive result for the first two positive progressions, I began to think this was a break in the cipher. But no, not yet. After working 6 more hours over the next few days, I came up with a secret line in the ending results. After messaging Alankadi about where to send the decoded message, I sent it to Mr. Jim Sanborn. Mid-May, I received an email from Mr. Jim telling me that it was not correct. So I just put it away for a few months. In September, I posted my Decoding on Facebook Kryptos page. They let me know after a few weeks there was a new hint for Kryptos. Very good news. After verifying with Mr. Sanborn September 24 that the new room hint word was true, I began my revision of my decoding output to include the new hint from Mr. Sanborn. 3 hours of work on my original decoding and 6 more on the secret message gleaned from it. I began working on revisions, including the new hint word. A few hours a day with a coffee in the morning, I began to work with a final count of 8 revisions, and about 12 hours more added to this project with a major change in of attack in revision 2. I began to see a pattern develop. At about the 4th revision, I changed word before Berlin clock and began to see interesting results right away. My change of attack was working better than I led myself to think. I will explain this new sequence I am calling the Piper sequence. I have moved from positive movements to a progressive transposition. At least that is what I am calling my reverse engineering procedure at this time, for a lack of a more correct term. The illuminating Berlin clock seems to be a good FD after east-northeast, as you can see from revision 6. Also note the word look or looking before east-northeast. Known as Mengenlehre, is the words changed after Berlin clock in revision 7 from known for colored lights. Mengenlehre is the German name for the set theory clock set in the end position. On Uhlenstrasse, look near is set in the front of east-northeast. The Piper sequence is seen here as a simple movement after removing the letter used in the code. The first letter used is the O in on the first word of the decoded line. After being used, it is removed and the next pair is looked for. The S is the next letter in space 14 paired, and the line will need to shift back to line up the 2 letters in the end. And now we see that the L in space 16 is next. All 31 letters are removed one at a time and the upper line shifts, creating the next pair to be used. You can see all these letters are numbered in the order of use. This movement is from left to right. We can find 31 pairs before this sequence ends. This is with no skipping and only using the most left-handed pairs. After posting this on Facebook Kryptos sculpture page for peer review, I did a reverse version of this at the request of a poster. Starting with a full 2 lines and moving the used code from right to left, this time we had 27 pair shows with no skipping. 15 of them were not found in the left to right first used. Most of the time I would not use this form of decoding, but we are working with a cipher that was never meant to be cracked. I am hoping this will help move this process of decoding the Kryptos 4 forward. The pipe sequence breaking open the Kryptos 4 cipher.